This is Jessie Collins with Pyramid Education Consultants in the U.S. And this is a little video just to show you guys the steps to making a do-it-yourself paper bowl with shredded paper. And this is an activity that just might be a fun art activity. It could be something that if you're having your learners make a present or make something for themselves that you guys could do. So this does get a little messy and have kind of a variety of different steps in it. But what we want to kind of do is just highlight in this art activity, what are some learning and communication opportunities for this particular craft, as well as just a fun activity you could do with your learners. So the first thing I want to let you guys know is that this activity does come with a set of pictures and a lesson plan that goes with it. The set of pictures can be used with students that are PECS users as well as kids that are using other modalities, because these pictures can be used on a schedule for picture directions, even for a receptive kind of like choice board. And then for PECS users, for them to be able to request or comment. The set of pictures comes with the vocabulary for paper, paper shredder, bowl, glue, flour, water, spoon, microwave, pour, in, plastic wrap, push, hard, soft, mixer, and paint. And so these are a variety of actions and or materials that could be used or given as directions during this particular lesson. So these are available if you're watching this video. You can click on the green button and that will give you a way to download these pictures. Okay, also with this comes a lesson plan. On the lesson plan, there is a description, the materials that you need, some supplemental links to some of the other websites that show some different ways to make this, as well as what are some potential learning opportunities. And those learning opportunities are broken out into expressive and receptive communication. So both requesting and commenting, and then receptive communication. And then also other independent opportunities, ways you can embed in critical skills like waiting or answering yes and no. And so that's just a little reference for you guys. This is also available for download. If you click on the green button that says Shredded Bowl Activity Plan, you can download this particular form. So those are there for you guys to reference. Okay, so the stuff, you do have a couple options here in regards to how that you want to make this bowl. And so I'm going to show you guys a few different things here. I grew up with an art teacher mom, so we have a variety of things like kind of around that I could use. But this can get a little messy. And then kind of one word of caution for if you have a kid that may not like touching some stuff that has like a weird texture, this lesson may actually provide a lot of great opportunities for your kid to say no, to protest, for them to actually protest, or to direct someone else's behavior to ask you to do something instead of them doing that. So the first thing that you need to do is that, and this is a great, if you guys have kids that are using a paper shredder as part of like vocational stuff, you can either you can cut up newspaper, or you can shred it yourself. Or if you guys have a paper shredder, you could just take the paper shredder, the paper from the paper shredder, and put that inside. What you need to do is, and I think it's best to kind of do this overnight or let it really sit for like at least 24 hours so it's kind of soft, is you just need to take all of that shredded paper and put it inside a bowl with hot water. And that's going to be kind of the first step. And then we're going to let it sit. You could definitely talk about wet versus dry here. So when it's first dry and then when they put it in, that it's wet. And if you have some kids that like this particular texture, this could even be a little bit of water play or things that they can play with while we're waiting for that to soak. So once it's been 24 hours, or you feel like the paper has kind of adequately softened up, then what you need to do is actually we need to make the paper into a pulp. Okay, so what you're looking to do is take the paper that looks like this and kind of blend it or puree it so it looks like this. So you have a couple options here as well. In the video from the art website, they use an immersion blender. So if you have an immersion blender, you can use that, and you can just plug that in and put that in the bowl, kind of let it puree. You could also put this, I think you could probably use a mixer or also a blender. So I just use the NutriBullet, and I put the water in there. Make sure you put it in with some water and let that kind of puree into a pulp. And so what you kind of get is that you get this pulp that has a lot of water in it. Some of your kids may really like this texture. Some of your kids might find this really aversive. The next thing that we need to do is that we need to take this pulp and we need to, you guys can kind of see, squeeze it out so that we get that extra water out of it. And we're essentially giving ourselves a little bit of that material. Okay, so this is something that your kids might like. This is something they might not like. So you could have them request to do this, or potentially to say no, or say you do it. And that might be something else that we want to consider. Okay, and then this is where we have a couple options here. In the video, the art video, they made the glue out of flour. And so if you want to do that, obviously kind of cheap and easy ingredients, you can take 1 cup of flour and 2 cups of water. So 1 part flour, 2 parts water. This is a great, again, measuring activity. You can work on scooping with your students. So in this particular case, you know, requesting for that measuring spoon, even looking at fractions, parts of whole, all that kind of stuff if you have kids working on that. And then we can work on stirring or mixing that up. Then you can put this inside the microwave to make this like get a little bit thicker consistency. If you did 2 parts water, 1 part flour, so 1 cup, 3 cups total, you can put this in for like a minute or so. And you can kind of go from there to see what the texture kind of looks like. And then from there, your first option for kind of making that glue is to essentially combine the pulp that you've kind of like gotten the water out of with the glue and kind of make that into an actually like cementy type material. So I can literally kind of put that in here and mash it up a little bit. And essentially what that's doing is it's making the material already be kind of have the flour that's going to hold it together when we let it harden. So if you do this, you don't necessarily need to have some other glue. So this is the part that, again, your hands are going to get really messy. This might feel really gross for some of your students, but you know, you can have them another request. Sometimes I let kids use this for gloves, and you're going to kind of mix this up so you get kind of a little bit of like a more of like a paste that you're going to be able to use. If you don't want to use the flour, I think one of the easier options is to, you can use a paintbrush and you can just water down glue almost to make like a Mod Podge. You could also buy the product Mod Podge if you guys have that. So if you search MODGE, PODGE, that's something that you could just paint on it to kind of let it as it hardens. There's also something called art paste. So this is another product that you can just buy. And this is to essentially make like paper mache and collage crafts and stuff like that. So you just follow the directions and you can mix that up. So if you don't want to use flour and you want to use something a little bit stickier, you can use the glue, the art paste, or the Mod Podge. Okay, so then now once you're at this point, you have your kind of like your paper pulp. Now you have to have the kids kind of decide what size bowl they want to use. There's a lot of options here, and this is where it can kind of get really fun. We can definitely work on big or small. In this particular case, I kind of have a square bowl versus a circle bowl. They're both green, but I have the student ask for the square or circle bowl. Within the lesson, I actually have a whole set of these square bowls, and so I put different things in different bowls. And so, you know, instead of even having the kid identify the material by name, like I want the paper pulp, they could even say, I just want the purple bowl, or I want the yellow bowl because they know that has the glue in it. And so a lot of different options here. You know, you guys can kind of decide, do you want, what size bowl does the kid want? And it's most effective, I think, and easiest. So it's really, because it's going to kind of shrink down a little bit to put the saran wrap inside the bowl. Okay, so the last thing you kind of need is some saran wrap. Again, this is something the kids can work on tearing, or a direction to go get the saran wrap. You're going to line the inside of the bowl with the saran wrap. And this is so that your bowl does not get stuck to whatever you're using. Okay, so you're gonna really have the kid kind of push it in there and essentially wrap the bowl like that. And then what they need to do is now they're going to take that pulp that they made and they're going to start, this is where those verbs like push and press and all that kind of stuff comes in. They're going to start pushing that. And you could, if your kid is not liking the texture of this, again, have them wear gloves. You could have them even use like a spatula, and they can make it as thin or as thick as they want. You may have your kids needing some help requests here. And essentially what they're going to start doing is they're going to start pushing the paper into the bowl to kind of line it with whatever shape that you built as the structure. Okay, so I'm gonna make a tiny bit more of this pulp, so squeeze it out, the water, mix it in with the glue. If you are not using like the pulp that has the flour in it already, so kind of the glue, what you can just do is take the paper pulp and you can just put it in there. And then you can put some glue, that art paste glue, over the paper. And then as it dries, it will kind of glue and harden that together. So that's another option as well. Okay, so essentially, however much your kids want to kind of do this, you can have them really just keep pushing. So I'm pushing, you know, filling this up. So I have my nice bowl. And then there is some natural weighting kind of building into this activity. And so we're gonna actually need to wait at least a day. Per some of the other videos I watch, we may need to wait even 2 or 3 days if it's kind of rainy or humid out. And so we have to do some weighting. You can always go and check it on your bowl. This is where we could again work on, does it feel soft or does it feel hard? You know, checking in and making a decision, do we think it's ready? And then once the bowl feels kind of hard, all you're going to do at that point, this one obviously still has to dry, is you would pull that saran wrap off and pull that bowl off, peel it off. If you want to add another layer of glue, if you're using Mod Podge or kind of watered down glue, you can do that to kind of let it stick together. Let that dry one more time, and then you can paint it. And so that's the other kind of nice part to this activity. You can have your kids make a bunch at once, and then once you get to the painting, really the sky's the limit there. You can have your kids do a lot of requesting for different colors paint. You can have them make a theme, like some of the bowls in the video from the art website had them making a watermelon or an orange bowl. You could just let them get creative on their own, and they could paint it with whatever they wanted. You could rip pieces of tissue paper and have them put that on and then put some kind of glue on it. So there's tons of different opportunities for how we can decorate that as well, and that really is up to you guys, okay? So there is really actually a lot of opportunities for learning and communication in this particular lesson. Again, please remember to check out these free resources that are available. In regards to requesting, your kids could ask for any of the materials that are in this particular lesson. They could direct your behavior. So if they don't want to do something themselves, tell you to put it in, or for you to push, or for you to get a bowl or something. Your students could also indicate that they want or don't want something, or to say, no, no, touch that. For commenting, kids could definitely comment gross, fun, feels soft, feels hard, it's gushy, I like it, I don't like it, it looks good, whatever type of thing. Definitely pay attention to their reaction and see like what might be some functional comments that would make sense for that. Also, we could teach them to follow some directions. These could be vocal directions, it could be picture directions. So if you're working on particular materials, for example, you could tell them, get this, and just show them a single picture and they need to go get the flour. You could also give them those directions vocally. So for any of the materials, you could tell a kid to take something, to get something. This lesson is great for teaching creating opportunities in here. If you notice your kid needs help, you could work on them asking for help. You could ask them a yes/no question, like, do you want to touch this? And they could say yes or no. We're gonna have to work on weighting as the lesson goes, so that's definitely available. And if for some reason your kid is getting grossed out or having a hard time with these textures, then maybe even it might be a time to teach them to ask for a quick break or for a termination of something. I think in regards to some more like academic or just other concepts, we could definitely be working on those adjectives. So dry and wet, soft and hard. We can work on some of those prepositions like in, out, things like that. As well as I think in regards to independence, you know, setting up, cleaning up, putting stuff in the trash can, as well as this is a lesson we're going to need to wash our hands a lot. So if you guys have a kid that is a hand washing goal, can get a lot of trials of that during this particular activity. So I hope you guys have fun. Share some pictures with us if you guys make some nice do-it-yourself bowls with your learners, and you know, get messy and create some learning opportunities. I can promise you this is a lot more fun than sitting at the table and doing flashcards. So thank you guys so much, and good luck.